Every year I take a group of students to visit some of the monasteries and convents around London. You might think this is a very secular city, but there are dozens of religious communities scattered around. Monks and nuns, religious brothers and sisters, men and women living other forms of consecrated life. We visit the poor servants of the Mother of God. They were established by Mother Magdalene Taylor in the 19th century, an Englishwoman who worked with Florence Nightingale in the Crimean War. She was so shocked by the poverty she discovered around Fleet Street and Covent Garden that she gave her whole life to serving the poor. We visit Tyburn Convent near Hyde Park. This is a contemplative order where the sisters are completely dedicated to prayer and worship. And we come here to Allen Hall Seminary in Chelsea, where young men from around the country are preparing to be priests. I lived here for 8 years, teaching philosophy and helping with the training program. In the Bible, St. Paul explains how those who choose to stay unmarried have a special gift because they can focus on the things of God. They can give their undivided attention to the Lord. So what we call consecrated life is not something that started in the 19th century. It goes back to the beginning of Christianity. There is so much variety. Some communities are enclosed with a focus on prayer and community. Some communities are more active and engaged with the world in education, healthcare, social work, parish ministry, missionary work, or service to the poor. Some people are living their consecration in more personal or hidden ways outside of any community. Consecrated life involves the evangelical counsels, the 3 vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. You promise to remain poor without private possessions, to remain unmarried in lifelong celibacy, and to be obedient to your superiors in the service of the gospel. This is a very special call from God. It gives someone a greater freedom to follow Christ and to be at the service of others with an undivided heart. Consecration, when it is lived with generosity, becomes a sign of God's unconditional love. Myself, I'm a priest, but not a monk or a brother. This is a different kind of consecration. Now, every Christian has a priestly vocation to worship God and to show the love of Jesus Christ to the world. This is the baptismal priesthood. But through the sacrament of ordination, the ministerial priest represents Jesus Christ as the head and shepherd of the church. He stands in the person of Jesus Christ. This is part of God's plan. You see Jesus sending out the 12 apostles in his name. You see the apostles calling others to share their ministry, laying hands on them, so the church will have a new generation of shepherds. Ordination also includes deacons who assist in the liturgy and preach and teach and reach out to serve the community. And it includes bishops who represent the apostles and receive the fullness of the sacrament of ordination. There is an unbroken tradition in the Catholic and Orthodox churches of calling men to the priesthood and not women. This is not because men are superior or anything, but because Jesus specifically chose men to be his apostles and to represent him in this way, and because the tradition is so clear and consistent. The priesthood is such a gift. When a priest teaches with the authority of the church, it is Christ who teaches. When he forgives our sins in the sacrament of confession, it is Christ who forgives. When he celebrates Mass, it is Christ who offers the Eucharistic sacrifice. When he cares for his people, it is Christ reaching out to them. Things can go wrong. There can be an unhealthy culture of clericalism if priests become isolated from their people. A priest can become trapped in his own weaknesses and sins. He can even betray the priesthood and the trust of those who look to him. When people have been hurt and crimes have been committed, priests need to be brought to justice, and the Church needs to take responsibility for her failures. Whenever someone fails, it makes us see even more clearly the need for good and loving priests. A priest should be a humble servant, a loving shepherd, a man of prayer, a man of utter integrity. The need for holy priests has never been greater. I wouldn't be where I am now without the love and support of different priests, many of them who have died now. Father Maurice O'Leary helped me to understand the Christian message when I was just a teenager. Father Chris Jenkins, my university chaplain, was on fire with love for Jesus and for the Church. Father Digby Samuels, a dear friend, had such kindness and tenderness for others that I sometimes imagined I was seeing the kindness of Christ himself. We owe so much to our priests and to all the consecrated men and women we have known.